Welcome to Gregorian Chat.
Welcome everybody to episode 36. Today I'm going to be delivering the podcast because Dom has taped his mouth shut. There's a reason for this, I don't know why. He's making a statement. And it's got something to do, I suppose, with, what our podcast is on today. It's like, are we helping those whose voices have been silenced? Are we giving a voice to the voiceless? But more specifically, the actual title is should we give money to
Beggars? Ow! Man, it hit more than I thought it would. I put it on lightly.
Should we give money to
Should we give money to beggars?
People that beg on the streets? We see them on Queen Street all the time. You see them whatever your city is. And apparently, actually, New Zealand has got the highest amount of homelessness per capita in the developed world.
They do say Auckland has a housing crisis.
Yes.
Not really.
Housing crisis.
Yeah, I want to welcome you to the podcast too, in my own voice, in my own words.
No, you don't get to.
Oh man. But yeah, so we're talking about homelessness today. But before we crack on into that, Dom and I had a day off yesterday.
Oh, praise God.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Wonderful. It was glorious.
What did you do with your day off?
I slept. I woke up in the morning with a mission. I was going to go and do some stuff, run a few errands.
Well, you live in Mission Bay, right?
That's exactly. I was going to do some missions with my bay. Dropped off at work. Got home. Thought I'll have some breakfast before I set out on a mission.
Do.
And then fell asleep for like an hour or two.
Dude. So
and I was like, my body was like,
Wonderland.
You need to sleep. So I just did.
Just obey your body. Don't do that in general, but when you need to sleep.
Yeah, look after yourself. Self-care, guys.
Because my day was pretty much the opposite of that. It was full of like cleaning and projects.
Yeah.
And I'd probably be more run down than you are right now.
Really?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't know. But today we're drinking a tea. It's pineapple and basil.
Basil?
Did they have any interesting facts on that in tea too?
No, they just said, it's a new bunch of teas they brought
Special
out.
tea. For you Americans, that's pineapple and basil.
Basil. Pineapple.
You know what I was remembering today?
No.
That time when there was this guy that came into chaplaincy one day. We were just going to have mass. It was a Tuesday. And there was a guy who came in with two other men, or one other man. So he's a big Samoan guy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He came into the front room and was like, hey guys, how you going? I was like, yeah, good. And he's like, just having a look around. The next thing I know, he's in the chapel. We had a little organ in the chapel that has like a auto beats, and people were praying in the chapel right before mass. So really like holy, doing adoration. And the next thing I see is I walk into the chapel and there's this big dude in there, and it's like. He's got the beats going. He's got little organ music, and I was like, "This is so funny." Like I don't know who this guy is, but he's just playing this ridiculous music while the adoration going. Anyway, so then Father Chris introduces himself to this guy as he's leaving, and then Father Chris starts the mass, and he goes, "So that was the Samoan Prime Minister."
Yeah, just walked into the chaplaincy and started playing the organ.
The Samoan, the organ. Samoa was like.
Yeah, apparently he used to come to Newman Hall when he was at uni.
He used to live here.
Yeah,
crazy. Anyway, I just remember that for just today for some reason. It was so funny.
Very good.
But anyway, should we crack on to the topic?
I think we should, but first, we've already talked about your team, right?
Yeah, we have.
So the first thing to mention about the podcast is that this is pineapple and basil. I need another day off.
Let's go.
I need another day off.
Well, you've got that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sweet.
I don't know what I'm tasting. Is it pineapple or is it basil? It's both simultaneously. Anyway, so there is a problem here with what's the right thing to do? Because the two stances are you give money to these people that you don't know, but for some reason they're on the street. Either and the fear is if I give them this money, we're probably helping them with drugs
their addiction.
or gambling or whatever. So if I give them $1, they're going to get a hit of drugs because of that. Bit ridiculous, but let's not get into that. But so that's the problem. Is like if I give them money, they might use it for something bad. But then the opposite side is like if I give them money, they might not be able to do something good, like I don't know, eat And so, what do we do?
Yeah. So it's a dilemma either side. So you will find the people who would be like, oh, I don't give money to people on the street on principle. You know, those people, if you question them more, that you might find out they don't actually do anything for homeless people because they thought the only thing to do for homeless people was give money, but now that they know that's something you can't do, well...
Yeah, they get a problem.
You know, and then you get the other people who say, well, I just give... If ever I see a homeless person on the street, I'll give them money. It doesn't matter what the situation is, okay? Obviously, it's made us think, so it's like you said before, what's the good thing? I think probably a good way of approaching it is, what is the virtuous thing to do? Because thinking about it, it's like, if you take those two people, the person who doesn't give money for fear of fueling addictions, or the person who gives willy-nilly, it's like, what is more virtuous, right? Like when God looks at the situation, let's say that the people giving money to people who are on drugs, you know, like are doing so, maybe that's not responsible. I don't know, but it's like, what is more virtuous?
Yes.
So yeah, but I think, like, you've made a good point there, which is like, well, addictions, you know, like for a start, how do we know if they're addicted to something? The other point, I guess, would be like, is it true that all homeless people, all beggars, are struggling with an addiction of some kind? Could we say that as a blanket statement?
I don't think so. I don't think they're all doing... I think some of them have been... You know, because like, I remember when I was back in Wales, I bumped into a guy who newly on the streets... and he was hanging out with his friend who was quite blatantly on drugs, but he wasn't, and he just needed someone to talk to, so he decided to talk to me. It was a bit scary, we're in a dark street, but he started talking to me, and basically what his situation was, his wife, they just had a massive argument. She just kicked him out on the streets. He had nothing. He had no car, he had no change of clothes, and he had nowhere to live, and that was his situation. Now, he wasn't asking for money either, which was the interesting thing I think we should point out, but he was looking for someone to talk to. But I thought that, you know, I was reading this book, Cardinal Sarah, God or Nothing, and he makes a point in it, which I want to bring up here.
Bring it up.
Which Paul in his letter to the Corinthians says, love believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. And the reason he brought this up is because he was talking about a situation that Cardinal Sarah, this fella here, was actually in. And he was in a rush. He was back in his hometown, but he was back in Conakry in West Africa, and he was on his way out. Woman comes in begging for money because she needs to buy clothes for her hometown, and he just says, okay, with this in mind, love believes, endures all things. He organised to give her some money. Later on, he bumped into her, and was and it was obvious that she spent the money not on clothes for good things, but like, you know, he points out, it's like, what will we be judged on in heaven? And St. John of the Cross, I think St. John of the Cross said that you know, we'll be judged on how much we loved rather than, you know, how much morality we exercise using intellectual thought. And, you know, in that situation, he out of love gave, and I think that's an important distinction to make, because with the willy-nilly-ness of giving the money, it's kind of like if you just chuck $1 at somebody who looks homeless,
it might hurt them.
B,
dollars are solid.
Yeah, might not even be homeless, because there is a fashion trend going around, and they just look scruffy.
It's called hipsters.
Says I was looking scruffy. Anyway, yeah. So like you know, it's about engaging with the person.
Yeah.
And this brings up to me the idea of the Good Samaritan. Because
so that story is from Luke 10.
Luke 10.
Right?
Have a Luke.
Chapter 10. There's absolutely, right. So this is like, when you think about giving money to homeless people, should we help homeless people? Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind to me. It's like, you know, and the thing is that the examples that Jesus uses in that story are like high, you know, they're like Jewish citizens of a high order. You know, priests, Levites, people that are kind of that society looks up to.
They're like, and yet it's the Jewiest of all the Jews. Yeah. Covered in Jew.
And I think because the road to Samaritan was on a mountain too, so they're probably mountain Jews.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Bottom and some are tin.
Right. But the moral of that story, right, it's about going above and beyond.
Yeah.
But even if he hadn't have gone above and beyond, right, that story of the Good Samaritan would still be, I think, a good story if the Samaritan had just done something whatsoever. If he hadn't have left that extra money, say whatever you need. But
if you take the context,
Jesus is making a point. He's saying, we need to go and meet people's needs, right? And it's not just about the money. So like as Jesse J said, it's not about the money. We don't need your money, mate.
The philosopher.
So coming back to it here, so it's like in helping people who are begging on the street, it's actually much harder to give other things other than money if you have money to give.
Yes.
Right? It's so much easier to just throw a dollar rather than saying, hey, what is it you need, man? Like, why are you on the street? And they might tell you the life story. They might just say, hey, man, I need a sandwich. I can buy you a sandwich. And actually saying that, and I guess having people see you in public can sometimes be a sacrifice. Because of the Samaritan guy, it was like his image was kind of brought down by associating with somebody like that.
Yes.
But as Christians, that's what we're called to do. So, and saying, hey, do you need some food? Do you need some clothes? And actually, that also helps too, because you can see it through. So then you don't have that fear of, this guy's going to spend it on drugs. Which is, like you said before, we can't just assume that all homeless people have an addiction. Like there are cyclical problems that keep people in like crippling debt, you know, and it might just be that they don't have an address, so they can't get the benefit, and they can't, get elevated from that point.
Yeah, and I think we also have the trap of falling into the idea of being a fixer. So, look, you're poor in this situation, I'm not. I'll sort you out.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a meal, and then you'll be. And we fall into
someone film this.
We fall into this like tokenism. Yeah. I hate those videos.
Those YouTube videos.
Oh my god.
That guy who's like, watch this. I said this to a homeless guy, and look at his reaction. And it's more about like the guy taking the selfie.
There's also this thing of like there's one stage where like it's like he pretended to be homeless and went to a cafe and was asking people for food, and no one gave him food. I mean, that's not when I'm going to give someone food. I've just sat down with my sandwich. Hey, can I have some of your food? He then went and bought a pizza, gave it to a homeless person, and then his mate, who was pretending to be homeless earlier, went up to the homeless person and asked for a pizza. So essentially, he bought them food and then took it off him.
Just to show people that, homeless people have...
Yeah, it's like if you want someone... If you want to share some food with a person, a homeless person is a good person.
I think, and it's something we're saying here is like, we use that term homeless people, like we would say like disabled people, like that has no longer become an acceptable term. Now people say people with a disability. And I guess, people might just say you're being politically correct, but in terms of us having a state of mind about this, it's like we need to keep in mind that they are people first and foremost.
Amen.
Who are homeless, And that also helps us with the idea that they don't have to stay homeless, and that you can actually do something to help them. But at the same time, we can't go into this issue thinking we're gonna rid New Zealand of homelessness. We're gonna rid the world of homelessness. And I think a really interesting scripture that I was looking up in relation to this is Matthew 26.
Matthew 26.
And Jesus, this is when the woman comes in with the perfume.
Yes.
Maybe Mary Magdalene, not in this version. And then, so the woman uses this really expensive perfume to anoint Jesus' feet. And the disciples say, what's going on here? We should have used this to sell and give money to the poor. And Jesus said, you will always have poor people with you, but you will not always have me. And so I was kind of reflecting on that, and I'm like, what is Jesus saying? Is he saying, you always have poor people, so don't worry about giving them money, or probably not,
probably not.
So then it's like, what's the nuance that's going on here? And I think what he's kind of saying is like, what we're being called to do is give an acceptable sacrifice to God, right? And the sacrifice that woman gave was the price of this perfume, and also I guess
the fact that she had
the shame, like having to get down and lower yourself to the point of anointing someone's feet, things like that, and giving that to the Lord as an acceptable sacrifice. In the same way, like when we help out homeless people who are homeless, it's like that that can be our acceptable sacrifice to God, but all in right and proper order.
Yes. And that's a very good thing. Is like a good point of like right and proper order. It's like because why are you doing this? As we pointed out with Cardinal Sarah's book, it's got to be coming from a place of love, and it's not a point of look how good I am giving. It's not a place for a selfie. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and it's about living charity. But then we have this kind of mentality that comes as kind of like, often people say, don't give them money, but give an organisation money who then deals with it, which is an awesome idea. Please don't. We'd definitely say don't not do that, and we'd definitely give money to those organisations. But that still doesn't solve the problem of what do we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And we don't want to outsource our charity. So like I don't go outside and deal with homeless people. That's for Christians Against Poverty or City Mission or Vinny's to do. I'm going to stay here. I'm like, by all means, it's like if you're unable to do that, like maybe you're in a wheelchair or you've got some sort of fatigue problem. By all means, that's a good and holy thing to do. But do answer the call that's on your heart. If there is a call in your heart to help homeless people, pray about it.
Yeah.
And then find a way. And I think what's important is that we actually engage with the people that we are helping. It's like if you're going to help somebody, make it a regular thing.
Yeah.
Not just like, okay, this is the one time I'm ever going to see you. Here the dollars. See you later. Never will see you again. But like, if you see one person every day as you're on your way to work, take some time to sit and say hi to them. If you don't bump into people, then get involved with the City Mission.
Yeah.
And go out every Monday or once every 2 weeks with them.
Yeah. And I think that's important to remember because it's like, a couple of points, I guess. When you're helping people who are homeless, they'll often be very hurt people, right? So you might give them so much, and they have really nothing to give you in return.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect example of what Jesus is saying when he said, when you give, don't expect anything back, right? If somebody slaps you on the right cheek, you can turn the other cheek. It's like the point of giving isn't to receive,
no,
right? And so often when you give money to these people, you might not even get a thank you, or you might, like Cardinal Sarah was saying with that guy, you might see that they've misused the money, from a way they would say they would do. Like, that shouldn't be surprising.
Yes.
Not that we should be like, typical homeless people, but in the sense that like we're called to love them and meet them where they're at, and you probably won't get much in return. I guess the other thing is that if you are a student especially, you may not have any money to give.
Yes.
And you know what they say, time is money, right? If you have time, by all means use that.
Yes.
And you could use some of that time to actually volunteer at a charity who's actually already set up. And this is another thing where it's like, if you feel like you have a passion to help the homeless, don't feel like you have to start a ministry. Do your research. There's no point in reinventing the wheel and saying, I'm going to start an awesome ministry, which is, you could probably start getting into the work much quicker if you look for an organisation that shares a lot of your views on things. So I guess that's another thing I'd say.
Yeah, and I think don't overextend ourselves. Remember also, put yourself in their situation. Say you were on the street one day, just on a bench, and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, do you want a sandwich?" You don't know this guy from a bar of soap. No, I don't want your sandwich, stranger.
Or your bar of soap.
Yeah. So, you might need the bar of soap. We'll get that later. But I think what the biggest call is for this is it's about meeting the needs of those around us.
You need to be need meters.
Need meters. Ching.
Are you a need meter?
Anyway, meeting the needs of those around us. And that could be homeless people on the streets.
Yeah.
It could be your best friend who's just going through a breakup.
Yep.
It could be your mum or your grandparents or some other need. But it's about your postman. It's about being Christ to those in the world. And if you can't find a need around you, open your eyes. Open
your eyes or get out of your comfort zones and go and find them because they are out there.
Yes.
Needs and we need to meet them.
Yes.
But yeah, in short, it's like, I guess don't judge people just because of, you might think they're on drugs, okay? Get to know them, okay? And then you might need to know, you'll know a bit more about the situation.
Yeah, joining in with these ministries, because they often have a regular meeting, is good for the homeless people and it's good for you.
Hey, thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you guys can put some of this into practice. I hope we can do it as well.
Yeah, ask us about any questions that you came up about this, post it in below. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Please.
And I didn't think this tea was very good. The basil put me off. But you know what?
Try it for yourself.
I could buy you some. Pineapple basil. God bless. Hey guys, thanks for watching the podcast. I've got good news. It just got a whole lot easier to search for us online.
All you got to do is search Gregorian Chat into YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, and Player FM for those who are on Android.
Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. See you later. God bless.